students! It's a new day and a new English session. Today's lesson is going to be a vocabulary lesson. We're going to mainly talk about the early civilizations. Early civilizations. And especially our lesson will be about the ancient Greece. What's the meaning of ancient Greece? Do you know them? How were they living those days? And the main question here, was the daily life of the ancient Greece the same as our daily life nowadays? I don't think so, right? So, what do you think about them? Okay, I will leave you now with an introduction video, and after that we can discuss together what did you learn.
5 things you should know about ancient Greece. The ancient Greek civilization emerged around 1200 BC in a privileged place between the Mediterranean Sea and the Aegean Sea. This territory was made up of a peninsula and a group of islands. Ancient Greeks were settlers. They didn't just conform to staying in their territory. They wanted to look for and colonize new lands to expand their civilization. Ancient Greeks were excellent sailors, and they reached many parts of the Mediterranean Sea, extending their commercial activity and craftsmanship trade. Ancient Greeks called their cities polis, and each one of them had its own government. Polis were very well organized. There was an agora in every one of them, which was the main public place, an acropolis, which was the highest part of the polis, a theater where ancient Greeks held events like comedy or tragedy plays, walls to defend the city, and the Parthenon, the temple where they worshipped their gods. Sparta and Athens were 2 of the most famous and powerful polis. There were occasional fights among the cities, and these would then declare war in order to expand their territory and gain more power. Ancient Greek society was divided into 2 groups, free citizens and non-citizens. Free citizens were men born in polis and made the most important decisions. Non-citizens were the women, the foreigners, and the slaves who never enjoyed their fundamental rights. Ancient Greeks established a government regime called democracy that allowed only free citizens to make decisions by means of voting. Ancient Greeks were a polytheistic society. This means that they worshipped many gods. Have you ever heard of Ares, the god of war? How about Poseidon, the sea god? I'm sure you know that Zeus was the father of all the gods. Ancient Greek mythology emerged in this civilization. It's a collection of stories and legends about gods and heroes. Ancient Greeks made up these stories to explain to people the origins of the world and transmit their values. Do you know the story of Hercules? He was the son of Zeus, a superhero, half god, half human. His powers were out of this world. Ancient Greeks were incredibly curious and took great interest in learning about everything around them, be it nature or human beings themselves. This is how the discipline of philosophy emerges, a word that in Greek is translated as love of wisdom. Some of the most well-known philosophers were Plato or Aristotle. There were also important mathematicians during this period, like Pythagoras or Archimedes, who intended to apply geometry principles in building and explain the meaning of numbers in people's everyday lives. Their interest for intelligence and knowledge helped the ancient Greek civilization expand around the Mediterranean Sea. The Olympic Games originated in ancient Greece. Isn't it incredible they managed to survive till modern times? In the old times, the Olympic Games were held every 4 years in Olympia. The best athletes who came from several different parts of Greece competed in the games. They participated in sports like jumping, disc throw, or running. Back then, athletes were competing for an olive wreath, not for medals. Many of the ancient Olympic values like teamwork, discipline, and effort still remain up to this day. The ancient Greek civilization came to an end in 146 BC, but the ancient Greek legacy is still present today in politics, culture, philosophy, or even sports.
Here shall we start. The question of the week is, how have ancient cultures influenced modern ones? How have ancient cultures influenced modern ones? The author today is Kim Covert. The genre is expository nonfiction. And in this text, the expository nonfiction explains the nature of something. It's looking for the facts about the nature of ancient Greece. Let's move. Vocabulary words. Today's new vocabulary is gonna be architecture. Architecture. Number 2. Democracy. 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 Number 3. Empire. 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 Number 4. Ideal. 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 Number 5. Mythology. 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 From myth, analogy. On the other hand, we have more words to know, which are number 1, ethics. 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 Fresco. 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 Acropolis. 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 Agora. 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 Temples. 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 Okay, starting with the words to be considered, not the main words, but just the concept vocabulary which we have today. The first word is acropolis. Acropolis, which is high fortress of an ancient Greek city. High fortress of an ancient Greek city. Number 2, we have the word agora. Agora is considered as the marketplace of ancient Greece. Marketplace of ancient Greece. Then we have the temples. Temples are buildings used for service or worship of a god or gods. They are buildings. Here we have the acropolis, acropolis, agora, markets, temples. Agora, acropolis. Okay, moving to the build concept vocabulary, here we have the ancient Greece. We're going to know more about the geographic features, the daily life, and the architecture. And now, starting with the vocabulary words. Let us move. The first word here we have architecture. Architecture is the style or special manner of building. Style or special manner of building. Then we have the word democracy. Democracy. The government that's run by the people who live under it. Government that's run by the people who live under it. Then we have empire. Empire. A group of countries or states under one rule or government. Then we have ideal. What's the ideal? The ideal is just as you would wish, perfect. To be perfect, just as you wish, okay? Then we have the word mythology. The group of legends or stories about a particular country or person. just like ambiguous yes to erase. More words to know. We have the word ethics. We have the word frescoes. Here are the frescoes. Okay, by the end of the video, let me summarize all the new vocabulary which we studied. First of all, we have the word ideal, ancient, civilization, communicate, mythology, empire, architecture, government, democracy. Okay, you have an assignment in the Readers and Writers book. I'm gonna wait for it to be solved, and you're gonna find all the answers there on Classora. See you tomorrow in another new lesson. Stay tuned and work hard. I love you. Bye.